Hello, my name is Michelle, and you're listening to Profit is a Choice. Joining me on the podcast today is Kristin Mathis. She is the owner of Distinctive Windows in upstate New York, which is a custom drapery workroom. She began sewing as a young woman when she purchased her first home and found a severe lack of quality, ready-made window treatments available. So using her natural talent to sew her own window treatments, she did that, and then she also fell in love with the interior design industry. Today, Kristin is a member of the Window Coverings Association of America. She continues to stay up with current trends and techniques, and she attends several window treatment conferences a year to make sure she has the most current offerings for her clients. Kristin and I met when she literally flew into Atlanta to take my Pricing Without Emotion class as a private training, which then led to money management training with the Profit First method and the Master Your Profit course. It was so great to interview Kristin because her goals for her business are different than many others, and that's what makes it exciting. The Profit First methodology works no matter the goal, and Kristin is a great example of being successful in saving for what is most important to her. Every day, empowered entrepreneurs are taking ownership of their company financial health and enjoying the rewards of reduced stress and more creativity. With my background as a financial software developer, owner of multiple businesses in the interior design industry, educator, and speaker, I coach women in the interior design industry to increase their profits, regain ownership of their bottom line, and to have fun again in their business. Welcome to Profit is a Choice. Hey, Kristin, welcome to Profit is a Choice. I'm glad to have you here today.
Hi, Michelle. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Good to be here.
Good. So, Kristin, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about your business? Tell us what you do, where you are, how long you've been in business, all that good stuff.
Well, I've been in business for about 20 years. I'm in Western New York, live in a small town in Webster. I work for a designer, and I have some referrals from my own clients from past business. I don't actively seek out any new business because I'm happy. I'm at a stage in my life where I don't need to keep a roof over my head like I used to 20 years ago.
Right.
So, I'm happy doing what I do.
That sounds awesome. And so you are a primarily to the trade drapery workroom.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. And so you've been in business for 20 years. That's a long time.
It is. Yep.
So
and I started out as a retail workroom as well. I did some work for a local store and had my own clients, and then have grown since then into realizing, I wasn't trying to grow my own client base on the side. I don't want to do that anymore. So I'm really focusing on just this one designer, and she gives me enough work to keep me busy enough. So, and taking your class, Pricing Without Emotion, really helped me focus in on what I wanted from my business and being okay with that. I gave myself permission to not want to be actively out there getting new customers and growing my retail end of things because it's not really what I found that I wanted. So my goals changed, which was great to kind of start with you on the planning for profit end of things because my goals changed.
Isn't that amazing? I think that's so true. Our goals could be set in one direction, and when we get to a different point in life, like you said, you're 20 years in. So, you're in a different stage just in your life in general.
For sure.
And how much do you want to work and need to work? And, it's funny. It's almost like I've seen, like when young moms come in sometimes, right? They're working in some cases, not all, more on a part-time basis so that they can still have their kids or manage around school functions. So then their work days get a little split, and maybe it's early in the morning, late at night during mother's morning out or preschool, and it's all kind of chopped up.
Yep.
And then it moves into when the kids are older, the day gets longer sometimes. And then I see when they get on the other side of all of that, they might have, I almost see that they have almost like 5 years where the kids are out. Nobody's like married and having babies yet, potentially.
Right.
You know what I mean? You have like these 5 years that you can just like dig in deep. That's kind of the years I feel like I'm in right now. And then on the other side of that, life could shift again.
Yes.
you start having grandchildren, or you start having grown children that you're traveling to see, or things happen and your business may shift again. Some people, it may stay super busy, and for others it could shift down to its part-time, 3/4 time, or whatever it might look like for their lifestyle and stage of life.
Right. And I think it was important for me to give myself permission to do that, because I feel like there's so much pressure to, have this person do an email newsletter for you, go to this networking event, so many things to sort of grow your business. And I just kind of felt like that's not where I'm at. So it's changed a lot of things.
But okay, so I think this is funny, because I remember when you and I did the training, we actually did it as private training. And I can give you permission, but at some point we have to take our own permission.
Right.
And I know I am in the same boat. I've got my own business coach, right? And she sometimes says, Michelle, like, she gives me permission to not have everything perfect. And right. So permission comes in a lot of different ways, or she'll give me permission to lower the bar, which sounds so crazy to some people, but my number one strength is maximizer. So, my bar is already so high above, I would say, what other people's expectation of the bar would be.
Sure.
So for me to lower it, I'm just kind of coming down to expectation of other people instead of my own. And so she's constantly saying to me, if you ever want to get something done, you've got to lower the bar. You've got to lower, and not in a bad way, but,
no, of
but
course.
again, it's that permission. And I can remember sitting in a conference one time. I was the speaker, and I was speaking on profitability. And I remember this young woman on the front row, and she just kept looking at me. She had big tears streaming down her face. And she's like, I just want to know that I can pay myself. And I got off the stage and I walked down, and you know how you've seen them like dub somebody at night and they hit them on the left shoulder and then the right shoulder. And
yeah.
After on the left shoulder and tap. I said, I hereby give you permission. Pay yourself. And it was such a moment. And I threw my arms around her and gave her a great big hug. And she was like, I've just been waiting on somebody to tell me that this is okay.
Yes. Yes. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. I don't know why we sometimes feel the need to know it's okay. I think maybe because we don't understand all the dynamics, or we think that, I think social media has played a big role in making us think this is what we should be doing versus what's right for you.
Right.
I know at one point I had 3 or 4 people that were speaking into my life on marketing and different things, and everybody had a different approach. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. There's no way I can do what you're all telling me to do. And some of it's contradictory. So I've got to take a step back and go, who do I want to be? How do I want to show up? What do I want to do? Then I'm going to come back to you, and we'll pull the pieces that each person has that supports what I ultimately think it needs to be. And that's the same thing you got to do on the financial side.
Correct. Absolutely.
And so prior to, you were already profitable, right? But prior to implementing Profit First, where was your business, and what did it feel like? What was the impetus for you to go, I need to put a more structured money management system in place?
Well, I never really had any system to anything. So, I'm just going along and paying the bills, and, there's money left over. Great. If not, well, okay. I just really didn't, just went with the flow. And then I realized I started spending more time with the nonprofit organization that I run, and really realizing, I'm in my 50s now. It's time to start thinking about what's next, and, retirement potentially. So how much longer do I want to keep working? And I really wanted to make sure I was funding my retirement fully and taking advantage of that. So that's what got me to thinking, how can I wrap my mind around sort of planning for all those buckets of things that I wanted to do.
Right.
And when I wanted to allocate money, which got me thinking there has to be a better way. And that's when I found you.
Right. And it's interesting. It's interesting how the thing that kind of sparked your interest in your own business was looking at a nonprofit business and realizing every dollar counts over there. Like every penny, like when people go give pennies and you're like, yeah, right. You don't need my pennies. No, they need your pennies. And so you got to see that. And let's be honest, a nonprofit can still be profitable. It doesn't mean they can't be profitable, right? That's not what that means. but you became acutely aware of the ins and the outs of a cash flow.
Absolutely.
And that created the awareness for you to go, well, wait a minute. If we're managing all of those pennies so tightly, what would that look like if I looked at my business that way?
Right, right. And what if for sure at the end of every year, I was able to make sure I had fully funded that retirement account, so that helps our taxes, it helps everything.
It helps everything.
I would just randomly put in what I thought would work. I never really figured it all out. And I think with taking that pricing, that emotion really got me thinking about all of those things. How are you going to pay your taxes? And at one point, when I was first started my business, I was a single mom. I have 2 kids to keep a roof over our head. And, so it really mattered then. And again, I didn't know enough about it to really plan for it. So now where I'm in a position of, I wish I'd have known then what I know now, but obviously you can't go back. So,
yes. I've had people say to me, too, Kristen, is it too late? And this is my answer. It's never too early, and it's never too late to manage your money. Ever.
That's right.
It's not too early. So I don't care if you're just starting your business. You need to go ahead and take the course. You need to go ahead and understand. Start at the beginning the way you want to end up. Don't get into horribly bad habits because you think you don't have enough money, or you don't know what you're doing, or you don't have a full pipeline. That's just crazy talk. That's just saying you're going to have to go undo all the bad habits that you potentially have set up. So it's never too early, and it's never too late to manage your money properly.
Absolutely.
Okay, so when you started Profit First, how long have you been doing the Profit First methodology? Like a year and a half, 2 years?
Yeah, I think it's closer to 2 years. Yeah.
Okay. And how many bank accounts do you?
So I set up the 4.
Okay.
And, I'll be honest, again, it's about, I wanted to do it right from the beginning. And in the beginning I allocated money to all those accounts. And then I found, I don't really need all 4. So I sort of decided, okay, what are my goals?
Okay.
So I set one aside for the profit end of things, and then the retirement, so that I know I'm putting more into the retirement and maybe a little bit less in profit. And then when I when I allocate the profit, I'm using it for whatever I want. And most of that now goes to the charity, because that was, again, a goal of mine, was to be able to support that charity more on my own. And then my retirement account, that's really all that matters to me at this point. Like I said, I no longer need to keep a roof over our heads. I'm at a better place, a different place in life, that it's just a different.
Right. And so you still save for taxes, and you do that with your husband on the tax side of things.
Yes.
And what you've done is you have made your salary almost like a huge funding of your retirement. We're not talking a couple of $1,000s. We're talking like fully funding.
Yes.
Right. And I don't know if everybody knows this, and I'm not asking you your numbers, Kristen, but I do want us to recognize we can fully fund a 401k between employee and employer up to $60,000 a year. So that is a lot of money. And as the employee, we can fund up to $24,500 last year, $25,500 this year, if you're over 50, because you have this year $19,500 plus the $6,000 catch up. So I'm saying that because funding these things aren't a small deal. If you are really focused on doing it from the employee and the employer side, we're talking pretty big bucks that can go into that. And so you have kind of chosen to make that how you spend your salary.
Right, exactly.
And then any leftover would be your salary that will still come in outside of your fully funded retirement account.
Yeah. And I do have the taxes account that I do allocate into taxes. You reminded me of that. And I don't allocate every single month. I kind of do it every 3 months.
So quarterly, you're on more of a quarterly basis? Yes,
because it just makes more sense for me. I do bookkeeping not only for my own business, but for the nonprofit and for a side business of my husband. So, I just don't have time to do it. I don't make the time for it every month. So quarterly.
But you're also not paying yourself every month because you're putting the money into retirement. So it's different. And if you did need to take that salary every month and bring it into your home in a different way, then it would probably be more of a monthly distribution allocation scenario. But in yours, it's quarterly. Again, and I know I've shared this on all of our Profit First success stories, which is what I have you highlighted as, is that we make it work for what we're trying to do and what we're trying to accomplish. First of all, I love how you started, didn't even think about that and didn't know that I had given you that permission. And that makes me feel really great that I was able to kind of share that with you. And then you take ownership of the permission to say, hello, my name is Kristin, and this is what I want my business to look like at the end of the day. And then be able to put a money management system in place that supported where you wanted to go. Yours doesn't look like mine. Mine doesn't look like Marie's. Marie's doesn't look like Debbie's. Like ours don't look alike, but we're all doing it and we're all getting the outcome that we want. And the biggest outcome, at least for me, has been no fear and pressure and stress around paying taxes. And like you said, funding my retirement as fully as I possibly can. Those are the two things for me right now. And then, one more year of college and then that'll be done. And then all of that money is probably going to go into a car replacement account, right?
Good.
I mean, it just shows up as the next thing, right? Once that money's, I'm not having to pay rent every single month for, at one point we had 3 houses we were paying for. We were paying for ours, and then we're paying for a condo for one son, and we were paying for a townhouse for the other while they were in college. I mean, it was like their room and board.
Yeah, that's what you had to.
Yeah, so when we got down last May to 2 house payments, I'm like, whoop, whoop, and then we paid off this house. So now the only house payment I have is where my son lives. So I'm like, okay, May, can we be done? Can we be done? I'd like to.
That's
I'm not
great.
doing that anymore. But that's the beautiful thing is Profit First, doing it in your business, being able to move it into your home. And what I want to say this is, you also balanced out, and I think all of the people have, but you've brought it up the most clearly. You balance out the outcome that you want your business to provide with the full outcome of your family. So for example, this is the stage you're at. This is the stage your husband's at. You were at one place when you were a single mom with 2 kids and where that money had to go. You're in a very different place now in a marriage with your kids grown and not having to make some of those same payments or sacrifices. You're in a completely different place. And so Cheryl was the other one who said this. Hers was looking at the fact that she's drawing a retirement on one side and then a business on the other and combining the two for how much she wants to work or doesn't want to work. And yours is doing a similar thing, but more with an overall financial picture of what you want and desire with what your husband wants and desire and the lifestyle that you want together.
Right.
So tell me a little bit, so that funding that retirement was huge for you. And that's when you saw it work. Like you said, you've said the same word that every single person on the success stories has said, I just jumped in. Annette was my very first one that I interviewed. And she said, just hold your nose and jump into the deep end. You're not going to drown. And when you come back, she had a beautiful analogy. She said, and when you come back up to the surface, it's going to make sense. And every other person has said, just jump in, just jump in. You said jump. I'm like, I didn't write in any questions for anybody to say that, but every single person has said it. Like, be committed to it, own it, and just do it, right? Make it work for you. Change what you have to tweak or change to make it work and keep going.
Right. And that was one of the things when, I started allocating everything, you sort of are almost guessing in a way how much the percentage is. And I found that, I was a little bit short on my taxes. So I had to take a little bit of money from someplace else to make it all work. And it was okay with that, which again, it's flexible. It's not, I used online banking, so it's easy to move the money around. So I didn't have anything to lose.
I think that's a good point too, that I just want to reiterate is you start off like we do an analysis, right? In the Master Your Profit course, we do an analysis. Here are your numbers. Here's where we think you should be starting with your percentages. But next quarter, we may change them. We may tweak them as we go to get what you want. I think for you too, having that awareness of this is what I want the business to be able to do. So you're going to call it a 401k or an investment or an IRA account versus salary, but that's kind of what all that is, right? Because you're going to take it out of salary anyway. So that's just where yours is earmarked to go as payment to Kristin. And then here's what I want for profit and here's what I want for taxes. And then being able to tweak. It's not meant, to your point, to be an exact, right? If anybody's thinking, they say I owe $19,450 and I only have $19,000, I got to come up with $450. Okay, seriously? That's a good thing.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes you may have a little bit more in there than what you need, and then you can either leave it to continue building, or you can pull it out, move it into profit, or do something else with it. So what was the relief that you felt at the end of that first year when you could fully pay your taxes, you had a profit, and your full salary or whatever percentage you wanted of that salary could fund the IRA and the 401ks at the level that you wanted?
Well, I mean, it was just amazing because it really, it works. There's nothing else I can say about it is, we put this plan in place and it worked. So why would I not keep doing it?
Why would I not keep doing it? I know people go, what motivates you? Well, the minute you see it work, I can't imagine not doing it. It's like, okay, I'm just going to be honest. It's like a good wrinkle cream. If you ever got this great wrinkle cream that you're like, oh my gosh, my face looks like I'm 12, you're going to keep doing it. You just are. You're going to see the results. People are going to notice it. And you're going to do it. It's the same thing with our money. When you find a system that works and a system that you have tweaked and tailored to your outcome, your desired outcome, the way that you manage the income stream and the cash flow in your company, and it supports you, you'd be hard pressed to get somebody to tell you not.
Right.
Did you have any trouble at the bank setting up the accounts or doing any of that?
Not at all. No, I used Ally online. They were great. It's easy. I was a little concerned about how much time it would take to sort of reconcile everything and move that money around. But you know what? It was fun.
Yes.
I like the bookkeeping end of things. So for me, it was fun. I loved it.
Cheryl made the comment, like, I'm excited when my bank accounts come in now. And I told her I'd felt the same way. What used to feel like drudgery or, oh my gosh, I've got to get to that. You now are looking for an opportunity I can't wait for that to come in, to reconcile these accounts, to see what the money's going to be, to move it over there, to feel relief when I have to stroke that payment, whether it's to the 401k or to the government or for sales tax or whatever it is we have. Because you can feel the relief. And I'm telling you, the stress relief of not worrying about how you're going to make payroll or salary or pay off your vendors, and you don't have a credit card bill that's chomping at your heels for a product that's been in a client's house for 2 years that you've still not paid for, right?
Crazy.
It's crazy. And so it's just not too late. We can jump in and start paying down debt. I've heard people tell me they started paying down debt with some of their profit at the beginning. And once they got it paid down because they got in good habits, see, that's the other part, Kristin, is people, I've heard this response. I've got too much debt to do profit first. And I'm calling BS on that. That's BS. Right?
I would too.
Because if you understand the profit first methodology, and what I teach in the Master Your Profit is, we're going to save the money into a profit account. First of all, we're going to take some of the debt, pay it off with the expenses every month, to keep the minimum payments or whatever we can do. We're going to save in the profit account. And then in that profit account, we're going to use it to pay down debt. We might use, Dave Ramsey's debt snowball. We're going to do whatever. But you're going to see very quickly, we're going to get the process set up so that you are ultimately aware, acutely aware of the debt that you're paying. And when it goes away, you've already got the process in place that all the money comes to you. You don't now have to go change your process.
Right. And why not have a plan to get rid of that debt rather than putting your head in the sand and thinking, I'll never get rid of it? Why would you do that?
No, and that's painful. I mean, just the stress of the debt that a lot of our businesses carry, or that constantly being behind the payments on things. Yes. And then seeing, what I see thousands of dollars of bank fees that are coming out of the expense category to pay for the money that we can't pay off. What if there was a system to pay that off, and all that money comes into us for retirement, for salary, for profit, for owner's use in whatever way? That would just be amazing. Mm-hmm. So what are some of the things outside of funding your 401k and covering taxes with the profit? What's some of the things that you've seen your profit do for you?
Well, like I mentioned, the nonprofit that I run every year.
Can you tell us what the nonprofit is?
It's called Home Start Hope.
Okay, tell us about it.
We provide women with household items. We have a house in the city where we renovated it. The upstairs is an apartment for a tenant that helps pay for the house. Again, kind of goes back to this whole planning for profit. When we decided we were going to get a building to do what we wanted to do, we really thought about all those things. And the lower half, we converted the living room and dining room into kind of a store. So we have women come and shop for sheets and towels and dishes and, all the household stuff that you need to start over again. So every year we have a big gala, and I've always wanted to be a big sponsor, but I just never set aside the money in order to do that. So now that I'm able to, it makes me proud that I can put the money where my mouth is, to say, look, I'm supporting this organization. I'm all in as well. And here's why. I think that helps.
That's beautiful. I love that you are using your profit in a way that profits your heart. Right?
Yes.
That's what, Kristin, you and I had this conversation when you took the course with me, that, being a profitable company isn't because we're trying to just go on a trip to, the Maldive Islands or something. It's so that we can give back and we can support the other causes that are important to us. And to be able to have the profit to do that, it's got to come from somewhere.
Right.
And it also doesn't show up by accident. So we have to plan for it. We have to save for it. And I just think that it is a beautiful, beautiful thing that you're doing by not only helping create this nonprofit, but then making an intentional effort to save money, to invest not only your time and your expertise in one way, but to fund it as well. And that's a beautiful thing that we can all do. We can all, even if we don't set up our own charities and set up our own nonprofits, we can find the ones that mean something to us, and we can set aside a portion of our profits and put them into that, whether it's mission work in our church or it's a philanthropy that we believe in or whatever. And profitability gives us, the money to invest in other people.
Yeah. It gives you options to do so many things in life.
That's right. And so if we are running down to the very end of every dollar and can't do anything, think of all the areas of support that we can't give.
Right.
So, Kristin, what is one of the next big profitability goals in your business?
Well, I haven't thought that far ahead. I'm, happy with where I'm at.
Maybe more money for the nonprofit.
Right, exactly. And bigger retirement, who knows?
That's
Maybe
right.
grandchildren will come along someday so that I can set aside money for them. Who knows?
That's a good point. My husband and I, because we have really kind of gone through a lot of the money management planning and systems, and we've taught, some of it, and I teach Profit First. We've already started talking about setting up college funds for our grandchildren. We don't even have grandchildren yet. I mean, I know they're, hopefully in one day I'll get them, right? They'll just show up on the doorstep and I'll love them. But we've talked about being in a financial place ourselves that we could do for our grandchildren what we didn't have. I mean, we just didn't have it.
Right.
I mean, our parents covered our college. That wasn't an issue. But what if I could help my sons just start a little bit where it compounds over all those years like we learn, and help take care. They can add the rest. I'm not trying to fully fund it, but to be able to save for those things, to give back to our family and to give back to other people. I mean, I love being in a place where debt doesn't rule my life.
Yeah, right. And I don't worry about it. I don't think about it. It's not a stressor. It's a huge relief. Huge.
It really is. And that's when you know that the business is working for you instead of you for it.
Right. Right.
So, Kristin, what would you share with our listeners as it relates to either implementing Profit First or taking the Master Your Profit course?
Well, don't be intimidated. It really is very easy once you go through the concepts. It's easy to implement. Like I said, I went right on ally.com, set up the accounts. It didn't take me long. And as I said, I just jump in and decide to do it. You can't do it halfway, do it all the way. And you're going to start very quickly to see the benefits of it. So, don't be afraid.
Right. Even if the benefit is, you're spending too much over here. The benefit is you now know it and can do something about it.
Right. Plan.
Plan. I know it. Kristin, thank you so much for taking time and sharing just a whole different way to even look at Profit First and looking at the profitability of our hearts and the things that matter to us, and then having the money set aside to be able to, like you said, put my money where my mouth is.
Yeah.
And that is a beautiful, I'm going to call it side effect or outcome of being profitable.
Yes, for sure.
If
It's been a
you'll
blessing.
send me the link, I would love to put your nonprofit in the show notes and let
Oh,
everybody.
great. I will.
Yeah,
Thank
let everybody look. And if they, if it's something that speaks to their heart, they can stroke a check out of their profit account.
Thanks, Michelle.
You're very welcome. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Wasn't that inspiring? Imagine being able to save your profit and money, not only for retirement, but for a project or philanthropy that really speaks to your heart. You can do that. The Designer's Inner Circle is the place to work out those details, gain clarity, and get support as you move forward. Let me help you. Don't wait another day to have someone guide you and instruct you to know how to make that dream a reality with your goals and with your money. Let's plan for profit, because it doesn't happen by accident. You can learn more about the Designer's Inner Circle at scarletthreadconsulting.com.